What happens when tariffs slam into the heart of the global auto industry? Toyota's profits are falling off a cliff. Honda is expecting a 70% collapse. And more than 500,000 American jobs could be on the chopping block. Japanese automakers, longtime powerhouses in the US, are suddenly in crisis. The reason? Trump's new tariffs. In this video, we will unpack the real damage about how billions in losses are stacking up, what moves companies like Nissan and Subaru are making to survive, and what Japan is trying to salvage in last-minute talks. Is this the start of an economic showdown that no one can win? Hit like, subscribe, and let's get into it. Toyota is not just another car company in America. It is a massive economic engine. With over 176,000 direct U.S. employees, 14 manufacturing plants, and $30.6 billion in direct U.S. investment, Toyota's footprint touches nearly every corner of the American auto economy. For the fiscal year ending March 2026, Toyota expects a 21% drop in operating profit, falling from 4.8 trillion yen to 3.8 trillion yen, approximately $26 billion. Why? A perfect storm. A strengthening yen, higher material costs, and Trump-era tariffs returning to haunt the bottom line. The company estimates 180 billion yen, $1.2 billion in tariff costs in just 2 months. North America, Toyota's biggest market, posted a 100 billion yen operating loss last quarter, up sharply from the year before, partly due to an Indiana plant shutdown. Meanwhile, U.S. imports of Toyota vehicles dropped 45% year over year. And the uncertainty has CEO Koji Sato openly admitting they have no idea how bad this could get. Toyota supports nearly 500,000 U.S. jobs through its direct and ripple effect hiring. If tariffs persist or worsen, the damage won't stop at Toyota's balance sheet. It'll hit American workers next. If Toyota's warning shot rattled nerves, Honda just sounded the alarm. The Japanese automaker is bracing for a massive 70% drop in net profit for the 2025 to 2026 fiscal year, down to 250 billion yen, $1.7 billion, thanks to the crushing blow of Trump's renewed 25% auto tariffs. The ripple effect is staggering, a 450 billion yen, $3 billion hit to Honda's full-year profit, as the U.S. trade policy forces global automakers to scramble. CEO Toshihiro Meibe admitted that shifting tariff policies make planning nearly impossible. Significant impact doesn't begin to cover it. Honda's projected operating profit of 500 billion yen is less than half what analysts expected. But Honda has a lifeline. Over 60% of the vehicles it sells in the US are made there, giving it more insulation than other Japanese automakers. It is also shifting production, like moving the hybrid Civic build to US factories to dodge some of the tariff fallout. Honda supports 367,000 US jobs, generates $17 billion in wages, and has pumped $25.7 billion into US operations. A 70% profit collapse threatens far more than a balance sheet. It risks economic shockwaves in cities, factories, and families across the U.S. auto heartland. Following Honda's steep profit warning, the broader picture looks even worse. Toyota, Honda, Mazda, and Subaru are now bracing for a combined $19 billion, 338 billion rand, blow this fiscal year, an economic gut punch from the 25% U.S. tariffs on cars and parts. This isn't just a corporate problem, it's a national crisis in the making. Japan's auto industry is a cornerstone of its economy. 5.6 million jobs, nearly 10% of GDP, and a third of exports to the US. With the new tariffs, that entire ecosystem is under pressure. Subaru alone expects a $2.5 billion hit, and its suppliers like those in Gunma Prefecture are already preparing for layoffs and frozen wages. Smaller firms, the backbone of Japan's industrial base, don't have the capital to shift production overseas. Many are now slashing investment plans and rethinking their entire business models. One supplier put it bluntly, "If this continues, we won't survive." And this all comes at the worst possible time. Japan's economy is already on verge of chaos. One more contraction means a recession. The Bank of Japan is sounding the alarm. What started as a trade policy is quickly turning into a full-blown economic emergency. With Japan's auto giants reeling from the $338 billion tariff shock, Nissan is moving fast to cushion its own $3 billion hit. And it's betting big on American soil to do it. The automaker says it can shave off 30% of the projected impact through a mix of swift tactical moves. Doubling down on U.S.-built vehicle sales, keeping production steady at its Smyrna, Tennessee plant, and shifting tariff-affected models out of Japan and Mexico. Currently, less than 45% of Nissan's U.S. sales come from imported vehicles, giving it room to lean on its American operations. Nissan is also working closely with suppliers to cut costs and exploring new localization strategies. Still, it's not all under control. Executives held back from giving full-year profit guidance, citing the uncertainty surrounding trade policies and restructuring costs. Since 1981, Nissan has poured $14 billion into U.S. manufacturing, created 21,000-plus American jobs, and invested in electric vehicle infrastructure and local parts sourcing. But CEO Ivan Espinosa admits the real problem now isn't just the tariffs, it's the fog of unpredictability. "We need stability," he said. In short, Nissan's fighting back, but the rules of the game keep changing. With Nissan scrambling to blunt a $3 billion blow, Japan's government is now stepping in, urgently pushing for an 8th round of talks in Washington to avoid a deeper trade crisis. The deadline, just days away. If no deal is reached, Japan faces an even steeper 30 to 35% tariff wall on auto exports, up from the current 25%. Chief negotiator Ryosei Akazawa is heading to D.C. next week in what could be a last-ditch effort. But so far, the U.S. has shown little interest in easing up.
We're going to make it, I doubt it, with Japan. They're very tough. You have to understand, they're very spoiled.
Trump, in typical fashion, blasted Japan as spoiled, openly doubting a deal will happen, and warning of no extension on the 90-day tariff pause. The stakes, enormous. Japan exported 1.37 million vehicles to the U.S. in 2024, representing 28.3% of all its U.S. exports. A jump in tariffs could crush that trade flow. Japan's offer: more U.S. investment and cooperation on economic security. Washington's counter: possibly capping Japan's auto exports, a hard no for Tokyo. Prime Minister Ishiba says investment, not tariffs, is the real answer. But with time ticking down and Trump doubling down, Japan's top negotiators are staring down a tough choice: hold the line or bend under pressure. Either way, the future of U.S.-Japan auto trade hangs in the balance. With Japan's negotiators making a final push in Washington, the next few days could define the future of the U.S.-Japan auto trade. If no agreement is reached by the July 9th deadline,
and therefore you'll pay a 30%, 35%.
Tariffs on Japanese vehicles could spike to 30 to 35%, putting intense pressure on automakers and supply chains already straining under existing costs. Analysts warn the worst-case scenario could trigger a full-blown recession in Japan, derail wage growth, and force carmakers to accelerate production shifts to the U.S., hurting domestic suppliers and workers back home. Some expect a temporary extension of the tariff pause to buy time, but Trump's recent rhetoric makes that far from guaranteed. One thing is clear: the industry is bracing for volatility. Whether Japan gets a break or braces for impact, the economic fallout will be felt far beyond the factory floor. In the end, let's take an overview of the details from today's video. Massive profit drops are hitting Japan's auto giants. A $19 billion tariff impact is unfolding fast. Nissan is pivoting, but pressure is mounting industry-wide. Japan is racing to strike a deal before costs explode. This is not just about cars, it is about jobs, global power plays, and the economic future of two nations on edge. Will tariffs reshape the global auto game for good? And who stands to lose the most next? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. Hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. See you in the next video.